What up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of Controversial Album Covers. This is episode number 40, and here it is, Dead Kennedys' Frankenchrist. It was released in October of 1985, and it is their third studio album. Okay, so if you're a small independent record label and a small band that isn't really doing a whole lot in the general populace, this is just an absolute cornucopia of things you don't want to do in order to get your album into the mass production. And let's start getting into it. Now, first of all, this is also the only album, I think, in our series that got in more trouble for the poster than anything else. And let's get into it. So if you're not familiar with what happened when this came out, Jello Biafra decided that he wanted to include H.R. Geiger or Giger's art piece, which was called Landscape XX, but it was also affectionately called the Penis Landscape. And he originally wanted that as the front cover of the album, and then wised up and said that's probably not a great idea, which is really smart, because if you're not familiar with the art piece, it's actually just a bunch of penis. It's the same image multiplied all over, kind of like Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe, but it's penises going into vulvas, and it's over and 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 over again. And it's black and white. And it kind of actually looks like it's a Xerox copy of it. It's kind of weird. So when it came out, and that was in the album, they actually had a sticker on it that said, "Hey, there's some offensive crap in here," but they didn't really say what it was. So when kids started taking that home and putting the poster up and seeing the poster, parents of course saw it, and then of course PMRC got involved in it because it is the 80s, and PMRC we've talked about many, many times before. That's the Parent Music Resource Center, and they were going after anybody and everybody that they deemed offensive or had satanic references or was indecent, and I'm pretty sure that penises going into vulvas actually would qualify to be offensive. However, it was on the poster, so that's kind of the gray area. Now, they decided they kind of were looking for someone to take down, and they knew that they couldn't take down Columbia or United Artists or RCA, but with this little label, this is Jello's label, Alternative Tentacles, and they figure if we can break him and make him go bankrupt, then that sends a signal to the bigger companies, and they need to start paying attention to us. They really wanted to get their names out there, and this was the perfect way to do it. And they almost did it. They almost bankrupt Alternative Tentacles in the lawsuits just by filing it and taking it out and just dragging it on. But fortunately, Jello was smart enough that he started selling off everything he possibly could, and his fan base came and helped him out, and they started buying it, and they kept the label up and running for a while. And he eventually was acquitted, and he didn't get convicted for what they were trying to say is they were distributing harmful materials to minors. Now, so they ended up taking that poster out. You can't get that poster anymore. I don't even think in the reissues. I don't even think it's in the reissues. But any hoozles, while that was going on, all of a sudden, this thing became national news, and people were talking about it, seeing the picture everywhere. Not the poster, but the cover of the jacket, which is this image here. And all of a sudden, these four guys in the front, they're Shriners, and they're at a parade, and they see this image, and they say, "Hey, that's us. They didn't pay us to use our faces." So they sued Jello and Alternative Tentacles for, I think it was like 7 or 8 million or 20 million or $1 bazillion. It doesn't really matter. They didn't get it because this image was actually originally used in Newsweek about 10 years earlier, and Newsweek, of course, had paid them for the rights. And then Newsweek sold the image to Alternative Tentacles for $175. So he was in the right there. But again, that lawsuits cost money, so he had to go deal with that crap. Again, it almost bankrupted them, but again, this is the only record in our series that caused more problems with the poster than with the image. However, there was a lawsuit over the image, but he wasn't right there. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.